Good morning. Welcome to the Capitol Theater. My name is Todd Fogdahl. I get to be the president and CEO here at the Strand Capitol. It's fantastic to have such a wonderful group here in our space. The Capitol Theater, built in 1906. We host a Saturday night film series here, concerts. It's a space that I think you're going to see become much more active for us as we move into the future. But it's wonderful to be kicking off the spring downtown update. And what we are going to be doing is taking an opportunity to announce what we are calling our 2016-2017 season preview. We are announcing the first 7 shows in our upcoming season. And that season is going to kick off with a bang with Sarah McLachlan, multi-Grammy award-winning artist, coming here to York and to the Strand Capitol for the first time on Monday, August 1. Sarah has sold more than 40 million albums worldwide, and we're thrilled to have her here and kicking off our series. We then jump at the end of September to Grammy award-winning jazz trumpeter Chris Botti. Chris is one of the top-selling instrumentalists in America. He's a personality who you've seen with Katie Couric. You've seen on the cover of People magazine's most interesting or sexiest people in America, or whatever those lists are. And he's going to be with us at the end of September. Then on October 17th, we bring David Sedaris here, satirist, comedian. He's been here a couple of other times in the last few years, has blown the doors out both times. So if you are a David Sedaris fan, I recommend you get tickets and get them soon, because they are going to sell extremely, extremely well. As we jump to October 20th, we are bringing a 7-brother brass band from Chicago, the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. All of these gentlemen, their father is a jazz trumpeter. They all grew up with music in their household, and what they've done is they've brought together their brass instruments, jazz, pop, hip-hop, rock, reggae, calypso, and they bring that all together and onto the stage. And they will be with us on October 20th. Then we jump to the Songs of Willie Dixon. Now, if you're not a blues fan, you might not know who Willie Dixon is. Probably one of the greatest blues musicians and blues songwriters. And you might not think you know him, but I pretty much guarantee you know his music. Willie Dixon's music has been done by everybody from the Rolling Stones to the Grateful Dead to the White Stripes. Songs like Hoochie Coochie Man and Spoonful and I Ain't Superstitious and I Just Want to Make Love to You, all Willie Dixon songs, and they're going to be performed on the Strand stage by Big Head Todd and the Monsters, classic rock band, especially big in the 90s. And they're going to have with them Mud Morganfield, who is the son of Muddy Waters, another classic blues musician, and also a blues harmonica player named Billy Branch. And that is going to be on November 12th. We have a great family performance with the Shanghai Acrobats. This is one of the most influential and competitive of the Chinese acrobatic troops. And then a show that I'm really excited about, An Evening with Jake Shimabukuro. And if you're not familiar with Jake, Jake is a ukulele virtuoso. And if you don't know what a ukulele virtuoso is, go to YouTube, type Jake's name in. You don't have to spell it right. Google can figure it out for you. But he does everything from Schubert's Ave Maria to Leonard Cohen's Alleluia to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. And if you're a Queen fan, go and see him play Bohemian Rhapsody on a ukulele. You won't believe it. It's going to be a fantastic, fantastic show. Tickets for these shows are going to go on sale to Strand Capitol members starting next week, and then we'll be going on sale to the general public the week after that. Also, before I hand the podium over, I want to share one other thing that we're bringing. We're really excited about our first Strand Offstage event. As part of First Friday in June, we are bringing the Brass Monkeys, the ultimate Beastie Boys tribute band, out into Cherry Lane, right between us and Central Market, for an evening concert outside. Tickets are only $15 in advance, and hope to see a great crowd there. So with that, I get to turn the podium over to my friend, the president of the York Water Company, Mr. Jeff Hines.
Well, thanks, Todd. So the York Water Company is downtown York's oldest company. And 2016 is our 200th anniversary, and we are celebrating our 200 years downtown. And we want to take a moment to sponsor this and to thank Downtown Inc., and then also all of the downtown vendors and businesses that have kept York thriving and alive for 200 years. But we've got a few things planned for you. May 21st, right here in the Strand Capitol, we are sponsoring the York Symphony and a water-themed symphony concert. We also have an open house before that at 5:30 at our main building. Also, I should mention in May, in fact 2 weeks from yesterday, right here in the Capitol Theater, we will have our annual meeting of shareholders. And we are America's oldest publicly traded company. So America's oldest publicly traded company will have its 200th annual meeting right here in 2 weeks. So if you are a shareholder of the York Water Company, come on down. We give you a free lunch, and we tell you a great story. July 17th, we will be at the Revs, York Water at the Revs. There's discounted tickets for all of our customers. We think you have to come in, and as you come in, you have to say, the tap water is the best deal in the house. And that'll get you a free ticket if you buy one. September 24th and 25th, is Watershed Weekend, and York Water will have a couple of venues open for all of you to explore where your water comes from. And then finally, throughout the rest of the year, we have a Waterworks Art Project, a collaboration with Creative York to provide art and water opportunities. For more information, go to our website. I will now be followed by Krista Dar, the president of Downtown Inc. Krista?
Thanks, Todd and Jeff. On behalf of the Downtown Inc. board and staff, we welcome you to our spring update. We also want to take a moment to thank some elected officials that are here with us today. Commissioner Hoke, Council President Hill Evans, and Councilman Hilfrich, thank you for joining us this morning. We're very fortunate to have a great venue like the Capitol Theater to host not only great shows, we saw the great lineup, but community events. So we thank Todd and his team for allowing us to use the space today. If you've been to our past few updates, we've been trying to feature different spaces around downtown because there are so many interesting places to hold events. The good news is, or the bad news is, we've outgrown a lot of spaces. The good news is a lot of you want to hear what's going on downtown. So this is a perfect venue. We hope you enjoy it today. We're also very fortunate to have a great partner in the York Water Company, 200th year in the city's 275th year, so very impressive. So thank you, Jeff, for your support. Today you're going to hear from a variety of speakers. Some are, and you'll see us all lined up here, some are downtown staff, others are community volunteers, developers, business owners, YCA staff, and community representatives. As you listen to the updates that they provide, I hope you really appreciate how much energy there is downtown, what's going on, and how many people are very passionate and working together to make these things happen. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Acting Executive Director, Tim Miller, who will talk to us about placemaking.
I think we're good. Yeah, we are. Good morning, everyone. I want to give you a quick update on placemaking projects in the Creek and Rail Trail corridor. And these are essentially projects that combine economic development, multimodal connectivity, recreation, and stormwater management. But turning back the clock a little bit, I think it's been clear to a lot of folks in this town that for over 100 years, people have been trying to figure out just what to do with the creek and the area around it. And I think we're making great strides, but in the end, people have wanted the same sort of thing, a dynamic urban place that still brings in an element of the pastoral and embraces the waterfront. And to that end, I think what the community has sort of gathered around is the concept of using the rail trail, the improvement of that rail trail and the extension of that rail trail as sort of our generation's effort to bring that into fruition, the improvement of the area along the creek. And to that end, happening right now, just a couple of blocks away, is the improvement of the original part of the York County Heritage Rail Trail. That is the portion that goes from Market Street down to York College. This is a $1 million improvement project that is currently underway, funded in part by a $500,000 grant from DCNR and over $500,000 that was gathered together from funding from local contributors and local institutions. That work will include repaving of the trail, widening in places, improving the stormwater management function of the trail through porous pavement and other stormwater management practices, and perhaps most importantly, installation of new LED lighting all the way from downtown to the York College campus, making that the safest connector and most direct connector between the York College student body of, I think, 5,000 or so, I think, Dominic, if I'm right, something like that, into the downtown. Really hoping not just to have that improved recreational effect and transportation effect, but obviously the economic development benefit that we can see from bringing in all those students into our downtown businesses. You can see all the happy people at our ribbon cutting just a couple of weeks ago. Very happy people. Next up, and hopefully not too far in the future, let's say 18 months or so, maybe going into spring of 2018, but hopefully we can do it before that, will be extension of the rail trail from Philadelphia Street to the Armory building on North George Street. This is the final downtown piece of the connection that's yet to be laid. Like the piece that we're reworking on right now, the redevelopment piece, it's going to include stormwater management, it's going to include a wider trail, it's going to include lighting, very dynamic lighting that makes it a very safe place to be at all hours. This project, we've already secured over $1 million from the PennDOT Transportation Alternatives Program. We just submitted an application last week for an additional $500,000 we need to cover the remaining costs. We have very good reasons to be optimistic about that grant. Should hear back on that sometime later this year. But we have every reason to think that this is in good standing and this should happen sometime late next year or early the following. And phase 3 is sort of the blue sky. Phase 3 is the notion of, okay, the rail trail is a great thing, and the rail trail is the kind of thing that other communities around us have, and for us to remain competitive, we need to have great spaces like this. But what's the differentiator? What is the project that separates York from the other communities around us in terms of what we provide for green space? How do we attract the millennials and the empty nesters? And I think the way that we can do that is to build off of that rail trail with a dynamic urban green space. What the rail trail provides is the spine of a greenway that would connect the entirety of that downtown, let's say from North George Street to College Avenue. And because it's a linear park, you can have a cohesive hybrid of different kinds of urban spaces. So you can imagine some that have more enclosure with more trees, some that are more open and more easily programmed for different kinds of events. And we think that this is really the way that we can take best advantage of the creek. Part of this work too in figuring out how to best build out the greenway is to look at opportunities to improve areas along the creek itself on the banks. We'll hear a bit more about that in a minute. But we haven't given up on that. I want to say that in a public audience. We still are going to be working on trying to find a way to improve the banks. But first and foremost, we have a great park to build off of. Let's get this thing built as soon as we can. The other real benefit from the extension of the rail trail corridor up to North George Street and through the Northwest Triangle is the development of what we've been calling a family-friendly corridor. We can see development sort of coming in along this area. You see the magnetism of this space as we see the York County Heritage Trust deciding to change its headquarters to the corner of Pershing and Philadelphia, which will be the southern terminus of this trail extension project. That trail will then reach along York Academy's campus, along some redevelopment opportunities in the Northwest Triangle, up to People's Bank Park and Central Family Restaurant, and some other potential projects that could come into being sometime in the next 2 or 3 years. So the idea is, while it's great that we see all these existing corridors kind of being revamped and coming up in our community, this is the potential for an entirely new sort of space that through a park, through the rail trail, connects families from great amenities like the new County History Museum up to the baseball stadium. Hopefully we'll have more amenities coming online that we can really use to leverage some dynamic new environment in the downtown. And with that, I'm going to invite up Tim Fulton, who will tell us about another extraordinary public space project that is soon in the offing. And I believe Tim has a special guest who will be joining us this morning as well.
good morning. It's great to see all of you out this morning and smiling faces with lots of great things that are happening downtown. And I want to ask Michael Helfrich to tell you something about the greening of the banks of the creek, just as Tim was talking about the greening of the levees and the extension of the green belt. Michael has been working on a project that he'll tell you about, which I think is very significant in terms of the Codorus Creek.
Thanks, Tim. This is like the breaking news flash. Jumping in CNN. Breaking news. Yesterday, we finally got completed 2 years and 8 months of negotiations with the federal government, which that's a short process. But with support from Tim and Downtown Inc. and my organization, Stewards of the Lower Susquehanna, we now have an agreement to allow us to control the vegetation. Some of you have heard me talking about this for years. But we now have an agreement to control the vegetation just manually so that we will have green banks of the Codorus. They will not be spraying herbicides from College Avenue down to the railroad, to the first railroad bridge. So while we have also not forgotten the ideas of how we can return access to the creek, you know, up until the 1940s, 200 years, the creek was a main center point of activity in the city, and we would like to, and we want to work with Downtown Inc. to return that access. But for now, we're at least going to make it prettier and more enjoyable and get habitat for the ducks and all the little critters along the creek. So we're very excited, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Michael. And I'd like to tell you about another initiative that is underway with regard to Continental Square and the renovations to Continental Square. About 5 or 6 years ago, Frank Dittenhafer was commissioned by the York County Community Foundation to put together a renovation plan for Continental Square. That's a document now that shows how the entire square can be renovated and improved and made more of a gathering and event space. And as the first part of that renovation program, we at Downtown Inc. are putting together an initiative to light each of the facades of the 7 buildings that surround the square. So let there be light, and there will be, and it will be good. Those 7 buildings you can see here are, let me get myself oriented here, 1 Market Way West, Citizens Bank Building, the former Chamber of Commerce Building, the Golden Swan Building here, the Goodrich Building, Colonial Towers, and the Schmidt Building. Each of those buildings have very significant and very attractive facade elements that, through the application of LED lights on the facades of each building, we will be able to illuminate them. And here you see a composite showing each building and what the end result will be. And I'm very pleased to announce that the York County Community Foundation to date has put in $206,000 in a fund to move forward with this facade illumination. The first building that has been done is 1 Market Way West, and Trish will tell you more about that in a minute. The program that was put together has been adopted by 1 Market Way West. You'll see those lights as you look at that building at night. It looks beautiful. The next building that we're working on is the Citizens Bank Building, and working closely with the developer of that building, who is to close on the purchase of it very shortly. That's Derek Dilks, and you can see the beautiful facade of Citizens Bank Building here and here, and how that will look with the illumination. So hopefully by the end of this year, we will have 2 buildings illuminated, 1 Market Way West and the Citizens Bank Building. And as funds become available, we will do the rest of the 7 buildings around the square. And I think it's going to really change the whole perception of the crossroads of York County, of Market Street and George Street, and celebrate Continental Square the way it should be celebrated. Next slide. Trish Will from One Market Way West.
All right, good morning, everyone. I just want to say thank you to Tim Miller and Downtown Inc. for inviting me to be here this morning. Before I get started, I'd like to say a few things about the people behind One West Development. One West is a partnership between myself and my father, David Yawn. While most of my professional career has been in healthcare management, growing up in my family, we were all part of whatever project my father was working on. So I feel like I've been in property development since I was a child. David has been involved in developing properties for over 40 years. His passion has always been distressed or blighted buildings. Over the years, he has completed many redevelopment projects in Chester County, Lancaster County, and York County. Some of the projects you may be familiar with are the Eichelberger Professional Building in Hanover, which was formerly the Hanover Public Middle School, North Shippen Place condominiums in Lancaster, which was formerly a tobacco warehouse and was converted into a mixed-use development. In York, I'm sure you're familiar with the former Bluebird Silk Mill, which is now known as Monarch Mills on Maryland Avenue. And most recently, he was involved in the redevelopment of the former York Casket Company premises, which is now Linden Lofts, a 74-unit apartment complex. Our team is a small one, comprised of myself as general project manager, Steve Wynand as our construction manager, and my father as advisor and self-described annoyer-in-chief. Our project is being financed by Fulton Bank with assistance from the Downtown Renaissance Fund. A development like One West is in essence an investment in the future of York. So before I discuss our particular project, I'd like to say a few words about the past and future of cities. In the pre-industrial economy, there was no distinction between places of work and places of residence. Merchants and craftsmen lived above or behind their storefronts. As a result, the streets were a perpetual ballet of people, commerce, and movement. Growing industrialization led to the gradual separation of work and home, and by the middle of the last century, our cities had been hollowed out, leaving behind compromised services, depleted infrastructure, poverty, and crime. The good news is that the past few decades have seen a rebirth in cities. Increasing congestion, the rise of the environmental movement, and the allure of the urban lifestyle have all contributed to this rebirth. Urban planners are working to create 24/7 communities, a place where people live, work, and play. And the benefits of these communities are immense. Families return, older people return, and there is an influx of youth. The conversion of commercial properties to residential properties diversifies and expands the city's economic base. There is a decline in crime as there are more eyes on the street, and as the increased population diversifies, so too do the businesses serving it. This movement will lead people to a rethink in the structure of cities and the levels of investment in them. The future of cities is in a return to their past. I keep pointing the wrong direction. The site that is today One West has a rich history as old as York itself. The site was originally granted to Balzer Spangler by the sons of William Penn for his services in laying out the city in 1741. Perhaps most famously, the site was the location of the Bears department store. In 1888, Charles H. Bear purchased a store and opened Charles H. Bear & Company. And over the following 82 years, the business expanded, and as it did so, purchased several buildings around it. The site we purchased was in fact 7 buildings combined. Most recently, One West was associated with York City and county government, a fact that has not been lost on us, as when we started the project, we would regularly have people walk on site looking for a parole officer or a fishing license. It was from the county that we purchased the site in May of 2015. And that's the rendering that I'm sure many of you have seen at this point of what the building will look like when it's completed. The trees stay. We had to remove those for the picture. One West today, the One West project will give new life to this space as a mixed-use development. Our budget is in the region of $7 million. We have approximately 100,000 square feet of space. 78,000 square feet of that space is rentable, and we're also going to be developing a 23,000 square foot parking garage in the basement. Of the rentable space, approximately 35% of that space is commercial, and 65% of that space is residential. Of the available commercial space, 60% has already been leased. People's Bank is our new tenant on Continental Square. They opened for business in November. Iron Horse Restaurant and Bar will be opening this summer. The radio station Froggy 1077 is staying and expanding their sales office, which we began work on this week. Printing Express remains at the building, as well as Jeffrey Bitzer, who has moved to a storefront on George Street, and Subway, our pre-existing tenant, has remained with us. The development of the commercial spaces have centered on the needs and timetables of our commercial tenants, but on the residential portion of the building, we've adopted a phased approach. Phase 1 is comprised of 15 units. That was completed on March 30th of this year. When I made this slide, we were 70% occupied, but as of yesterday, we are now 100% occupied in Phase 1. And Phase 2 is underway right now. It's an additional 23 units, and they will be completed this summer. Again, when I made the slide, we were 50%, and I got 2 more reservations between last night and this morning. So it's all going very well. And the final phase is Phase 3. That's going to be the final 12 units. Those are all located in the Gailey building off Market Street, and we're planning to have them finished in the spring. So we have various configurations. Half of them are 1-bedroom, 1-baths. Half of them are 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath, or 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath. And the configurations range from 600 square feet up to 1,800 square feet. Aesthetically, we have taken care to preserve as much of the original character of the building as possible. We've retained the original maple hardwood floors. We have kept the sprinkler system exposed, and we have incorporated spiral ducted heating and cooling systems. We have attempted to meld the old with the contemporary, in tune with the concept of urban revitalization. As Tim Fulton already discussed, we have been happy to adopt and implement the facade illumination plan, and I think it looks great. And then Iron Horse York is scheduled to be opening at the end of June. As you can see, the build-out will remain very industrial, a nod to York's roots. The restaurateur Calogero Elia owns Cafe Fresco in Paxton, or Cafe Fresco Paxton in Harrisburg, and the restaurant will be an American bistro. We'll have outdoor seating, and we are currently working on a plan for a rooftop restaurant and bar to open next summer. Calogero has 35 years of experience in the restaurant industry, and we are really looking forward to the further expansion of our culinary options here in York. One West is another step forward towards the revitalization of a historic, charming, and very livable downtown York. I hope that I have been able to shed some light on our project, and I appreciate your time and attention. And I'm going to turn things over to Kim Lentz and Natalie Williams. Kim is from the York County Economic Alliance, and you all know Natalie from Downtown Inc. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I need to make sure this is lined up because I lost my voice this weekend. I am getting it back, so I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to hear everything I'm saying today. When destination consultant Roger Brooks first came to York, we don't want to, well, that's all right. When, I want them to hear me and not read, so, sorry. When Roger Brooks first came to York, he challenged us to follow his 10 plus 10 plus 10 plan. And 10 plus 10 plus 10 was the rule of critical mass. And according to his research, this is what he determined is necessary in a town to make a downtown a destination. To reach critical mass, you need to, in 3 lineal blocks, you need to offer each of the following. Now we're ready. You need to offer 10 places, 10 places that serve food. This could be anything from a bakery to a restaurant. 10 places that are specialty retailer shops, not big box, not chain stores, but specialty retailers, and 10 places that are open after 6 p.m., preferably entertainment-type locations. Downtown Inc. stepped up to that challenge and included this, as well as a long list of other recommendations by Brooks, into their strategic plan. And for every new retailer, new restaurant, new venue that's open evenings, we're one step closer to reaching critical mass in each of our downtown districts. The Business Recruitment Committee is a subcommittee of the Economic Development Committee, and the committee was formed for the specific purpose of assisting our business liaison, Natalie Williams, in attracting and recruiting downtown businesses into our downtown. I do want to recognize our committee members and thank them for their commitment and passion for making downtown York a destination. If those committee members are here, please stand when I say your name. Some of you, I know some couldn't make it, but a lot are here. Dylan Bauer, Ben Chiro, Landon Ace, Joel Snyder, Cindy Steele, Patty Stirk. Thank you. And with our committee being staffed by someone as hardworking and dedicated as Natalie, it has really made our job very easy. She is tenacious and she's driven. We can certainly know each meeting we attend that she's done her homework and she comes fully prepared. So it's been a pleasure working with her. So I'm happy to introduce to you now Natalie Williams. She is going to talk to you about the restaurants that are fairly new that you should currently be enjoying if you aren't already, and then also about some new restaurants online to open soon in the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. Okay, good morning, everyone. As Kim mentioned, I'm going to tell you about the exciting food options that are currently here in downtown York, as well as those that are planned to open in the next few months. As you're well aware, restaurants are an important component for an urban environment. They are open late, putting people on the streets in the evenings, and clustered together in a walkable environment, they become a destination for everyone from families to millennials. I hope this presentation will not only make you hungry for lunch, but will give you a better picture of growth our community has been seeing. Downtown York is becoming even more of a foodie paradise. For ease, I have broken down my presentation today by districts. The first part of 2016 has been pretty incredible for new businesses. Looking at the restaurants to date, Royal Square saw Johnny's Burgers and Glazen's, York's only place that you can eat a donut and grab a six-pack at the same time, which I think is pretty cool. In Waco, Ironic has expanded to not only include coffee, but fresh-pressed paninis, and Penn Market has also been successful at attracting several new vendors, so ribbon cuttings will be coming for those very soon. The Market District has seen the opening of Tutoni's TT Bar, Let Us Know expanding from Central Market to a full inline retail location, Holy Hound expanding to offer a full menu of food, as well as several new vendors in Central Market. So as you can see, 2016 so far started off pretty incredible. So now we're going to look at everything that's happening from now until basically the end of summer, end of 2016. There's a lot of already that's happened, but looking forward to the next several months, there's even more. So coming soon to Royal Square, you have the World Grill at 29 East King Street, which I've been told is going to be an Asian barbecue, very exciting. And Collusion Tapworks, which you can see their visual there, is going to be opening at 105 South Howard Street in the Bond Building this summer. Here you can see a mock-up of their location, and Jared Barnes and his partners are very excited about the potential of Collusion and looking forward to your sampling their handcrafted beer and ciders. I met with Jared last week, and he's an awesome guy, so we're really excited about that. Of course, in Waco, you have the expansion of Blue Moon, which will be 2,000 square feet additional space, which will include a new bar, lounge, and a bistro. And that'll be opening late summer, so that's very exciting. So now we get to the Market District, and I want you to keep in mind, a lot of these restaurants in the Market District are really going to be clustered. So there's going to be an explosion on George Street, which I think is going to be very critical. So keep in mind the location of these when we're moving forward. Iron Horse, as Trish already mentioned, is opening in Continental Square and the One West development. And I, for one, am extremely excited about the additional seating on the square. I think that's going to be amazing to see people out there dining and enjoying into the evening hours. The Handsome Cab at 106 North George Street will be a sophisticated wine bar, small plates, and art gallery. Andrew and Robert talk about Tenacious. They have been on this path for several years. And as I asked them what they could tell me about their space, they said that you could travel the world by art and by glass. So that is exciting. They'll be opening this summer. Across the street, you have Gift Horse Brewing Company, 117 North George Street, which will be a casual brew pub with light fare. The owners of Gift Horse have been coming to First Fridays for several months, so people are already sampling their beverages. So we're happy that they finally found a permanent home. Tutoni's newest concept at 108 North George Street will be a sophisticated speakeasy called King George, which will be a membership-based area where you can sit in a lounge Vegas feel with extravagant soft seating. So that sounds super fancy. That'll be opening the end of summer. Former Maywinds, we all know, has been purchased by Tom and Jeremiah from the White Rose. While most of the details are under wraps, we do know that this will be a seafood concept. And looking at our current restaurant mix, I think they've chosen well, and of course we can expect amazing things to come from them. Also, further down George Street, on North Street, Liquid Hero is expanding and adding a bar top to their parking lot side as well as outdoor seating. While they've been there for a while, this is incredible to mention because in a downtown, our businesses normally grow and expand. And so this is great that they're seeing the need that people want to sit outside. They're also reconfiguring their indoor bar to allow for additional seats and 4 more taps. They hope to begin construction in the next few weeks. So the last thing I just want to quickly mention was a team effort. I want to fill you in on a highly important restaurant prospect that was looking at the former Maywin space, which is part of Royal Square's West Market Street project. As a result of our continued engagement in retail recruitment through our business recruitment committee, Ben Shiro and I, who couldn't be here this morning, and myself organized a group of community stakeholders. Within 24 hours, we had pulled together 17 people, which includes representatives from Royal Square, Wellspan, York College, YCEA, the City of York, and Downtown Inc. At this meeting, we relayed our commitment to this community and current momentum we are experiencing and gave them a clearer picture for why they should invest in downtown York and York City. Our meeting was successful. They were highly impressed and have since determined that downtown York is a great investment. Announcements will be forthcoming on their opening, so I'm not going to be spilling any beans here today, but this is a great opportunity for downtown York. As I mentioned, I hope this presentation will give you a clearer picture on what's ahead. The economic impact of these restaurants to our downtown dining scene will be great, adding another positive feature for our residents, commuter influx, as well as our visitors. I foresee a very busy ribbon-cutting season. So, from that, I am going to introduce Dave Smith from WECO.
All right. So I'm David from WECO. We're a little crazy over in WECO. I think somebody put something in our water.
No.
Yeah, I really do. I really do.
I live there too. There's nothing in the water.
Well, it's my side, definitely. All right, so I've dressed this way because I want you guys to remember everything that we're doing in WECO. Let me read so I can cheat. So WECO is a very diverse area. We have a new Small Star Art House independent movie theater. We have 2 coffee shops, New Ground and Ironic. We have a couple of fine restaurants, Blue Moon, Roosevelt Tavern, a couple of art galleries, The Rooted, Ironic, Blue Cat Gallery coming soon. We have the oldest farmers market, Penn Market. We have the YMCA, the Fortress, York Rescue Mission, the Economy Store, York Book Emporium, Pedicabs of York, York Social Dance, Gavin Advertisement, and many other shops that embrace our cultural differences in WECO. So I am here to tell you about our WECO Summer Series. And WECO Business District, along with the Cultural Alliance of York County, Wolfgang Candy, York Water Company, Stock and Leader, the York Rescue Mission, the Union Lutheran Church, YMCA, and Rudders is presenting the WECO Summer Series. The first thing I have to offer is we're offering 5 creek fires. So they're down at the Foundry Park, which is right next to the waterway. The first creek fire will be, and basically the creek fires will have, they start at 7. We usually have children's activities. At dusk, we actually take these fire pits and we float them on the Codorus and we light them. There's a lot of activities, food vendors. We have illuminated boat parade. We have fire performers. That's what these are. I'm the fire performer. And you can get your adult beverages at the waterway, which is above our head. So the first creek fire is May 28th. And what we did in WECO is we paired up with charities in York. So May 28th, our fundraiser will be for Punks for Positivity. And we'll have a magician and we'll have music there and entertainment. The second creek fire is June 25th. And that'll be a fundraiser for Downtown Inc. The third creek fire is July 23rd, and that'll be a fundraiser for the American Red Cross. The fourth one is August 27th, and that'll be a fundraiser for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And last but not least, September 24th, we will have an international festival with the YMCA down at the Foundry Park with illuminated boats and everything else. Now, second, we're hosting a free birthday party on Market Street. So we're closing from Penn to Newberry. The dinner will be 550 people for a barbecued meal. Will be shared at one long table in celebration of 275 years of York anniversary. Now the catch, the only way to get invited to this is Wolfgang has made 3,000 candy bars. They'll be distributed through York. On May 23rd, we'll actually tell you about the distribution. Ooh, you know what I mean. So May 23rd, we're going to be launching the candy bar. Actually, 3,000 candy bars, 250 of those candy bars will have a golden ticket. That golden ticket will get you and a friend, spouse, or whatever. And that's the only way you can get invited to this dinner. So that way it'll be a very diverse meal. Well, we're not eating the people, but you know what I mean. So that's very, very exciting. It's going to be very interesting. 550 people will have jugglers, cotton candy, bands, and everything like that. So if anybody wants to sponsor a juggler or cotton candy, please let me know. Third, WECO is launching the York City Yacht Club, which actually existed in the 70s. The Heritage Trust has a little bit of information on it, but not much. We think it was a bunch of old businessmen that ditched their wives and went out drinking. But in our case, we are going to start a mentorship with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we're going to buy wood models for remote control so they can mentor with their little ones. And we will have a regatta on August 27th. So we'll be launching the kids' boats and all that stuff. So it'll be very exciting. And it'll be a great mentorship program. Fourth, there is Pigs on Pen, which is a great bacon festival, and that is June 4th. Take that back. And we have Cigar Box Guitar Festival, which coincides with York Fest. The Parliament is actually donating some art cars so we can make that extension between the York Fest and the Cigar Box because there's a bunch of emptiness there, so hopefully that'll bridge that gap. But that's all the craziness I have to tell you, and Christine Darr.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone, for your presentations. As I was sitting there listening to everyone speak, I thought it was interesting how we started with the very historical stalwarts of our community, the Strand and York Water, who long invested in this downtown, and how much we ended with the excitement that's building in WECO. So much energy. And we really wanted to highlight the fact that there's a lot of business development going on. We're focused on placemaking, providing safe, fun venues for people to get together and gather. There's a lot of exciting activities going on, and we couldn't do it all ourselves. We need all these folks and all of you folks to really dig in and make the city great. So we appreciate everyone's support. I did want to mention two things that you received when you came in the door. We talked a little bit about safety with the lighting of Continental Square, but you also received information about the camera project. This is a great example of how we've been able to partner with other organizations. Better York and the York County Community Foundation have been funding partners for us to make this available for business and property owners in the downtown to be able to provide additional features that they can put on their buildings to help them with their ability to fight crime in and around their businesses. So we thank the foundation and Better York for their support on that. And the other thing that you received is both the agenda for today as well as some upcoming dates. So we got a lot of great things, not only the things that are happening in WECO and all the ribbon cuttings you're going to get invited to, but also some great events that are coming up. Most notably on May 12th, we will have our Downtown First Awards. I know many of our nominees are in the room. We hope you will come out and support and celebrate all the great businesses downtown. Hopefully you found today very informative. We shared a lot of information, but you don't have to wait to 2 times a year to get information from Downtown Inc. Follow us on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, and you can get daily updates about all the cool stuff that's happening downtown. And there are new things happening every day downtown, so please do that. With that, I think we are adjourned. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again on May 12th. Thank you.